always so exciting. Again, I'm Michael Cole. I'm the head of marketing. One of the reasons we want to do this session is that with anything that's about partnerships, every conference has ever existed, there will always be at least 3 slides where they're like, look at all of the media buying in the world. Look at all of these dummies just blowing all their money on media buying. It's a complete disaster. Why would anyone do it? Just use partnerships. It'll solve everything. And to be fair, even for us, like, media buying is a big expense, but it makes money. And that's what they don't tell you is if you do media buying right, you still make money and you can make it a cost-effective channel. And the thing is, with media buying, you're reaching all the people that you don't reach through your own ecosystems, through your own partnerships. So I'm really excited to walk through sort of what we've done internally to be successful here. And I'm joined today by Sino, who's been just killing it with all of our media buying and demand gen.
Hey, Michael, thank you. So even after all that, why should we invest in Google Ads as a growth engine? Really, imagine you're at a casino, you're sitting at the slot machine, you put $1 in, and you spin the lever, and you get $5 out. You're probably gonna put another $1 in, spin the lever again, get another $5 out. At this point, you're probably gonna up your budget depending on how you're feeling, maybe a 20 or a 50 if you're really feeling lucky, spin the lever again, and you got $100. At this point, you're probably looking around and trying to find the nearest ATM. So the idea is we want to teach Google to bid based on getting your maximum value. So essentially, the goal is to put $1 in and get at least $2 worth of value out of Google Ads every time. So Google Ads, if anybody here has ever set up a Google Ads campaign, you probably set up the campaign, set the budget up, and in about 2 to 3 hours, you come back and it probably spent all your money and you probably got nothing out of it, and you're like, oh, this is a crap, this is a waste. This is where a lot of people get stuck with Google Ads, and this is kind of the drop off for most people. The idea with Google Ads is you really want to make sure Google isn't just burning your money faster than you can burn it yourself.
Yeah, and the one last thing I'd like to mention here is that I like to think of Google Ads like a big, dumb, eager dog. It's gonna just run and get the closest stick possible and bring it, and the first time you're like, oh, that's so cute, that's a great stick. But if it just keeps bringing you junk after junk, you're gonna get tired of it really quickly, and unfortunately when it comes to Google Ads, it's a big, dumb, eager dog that's also insanely expensive. So you wanna make sure that is bringing you back something you actually want.
So around this time last year after Everflow Connect, me and Michael, we went into our Google Ad account and we took a deep dive in there. We also were working on our Google Ads integration at the same time, so we kind of wanted to see how everything worked together. And so we ended up just taking a really deep dive into our Google Ads account to see what we can fix, what we can change, especially using our integration to get this data to see what optimizations we can fix. And so using some, we brainstormed, came up with some ideas, and we were able to really increase our quality leads it took us maybe 2 to 3 weeks to make these optimizations. And during Q4, our quality leads increased by 91%, and we only increased our budget by like 9%. So we essentially doubled the amount of leads at the same amount of budget we were running the quarter before.
Not to mention Q4 is like the most expensive time. So being able to do that during the most expensive time of the year is like crazy.
So how were we able to do this? Google has a lot of data on customers. They know what customers like. They know what customers are searching for. They even know what you're thinking about, right? But Google doesn't know what customers bring value to you. So you need to teach Google to understand, hey, this customer is very valuable for us, and you need to bring us more people like this. And so we kind of had like 5 key optimization steps that we took in place to kind of get our Google Ads in the right direction. And these are kind of the 5 things we were able to do. So the first thing is really, when you're bidding on Google Ads, a really foundational piece is to make sure your keywords have the right buyer intent. We'll go over this in more detail later. And then the second thing is to set up conversion actions that really reflect what your business is doing. So if you're a B2C company, usually you're trying to get purchase value. If you're B2B, it's usually leads, MQLs, SQLs, and making sure that Google understands what your business brings, what brings value to your business. The third is setting up something called conversion action. It's pretty new, but this allows Google to understand the stages of your buying process and what value each stage has for your business. And then with all that, if you're running a campaign on Google and there's all this data, and then on your side of things, this campaign is super successful, right? You're making a lot of money, you want to keep running, but if all that data isn't passed back into Google, it doesn't understand that this was a profitable campaign, because on their platform, it looks like it was a failure, right? And so it'll stop running this campaign thinking it's blowing your money. So you want to make sure all this data is getting passed back into Google Ads, and we do that using Everflow. And also we use Everflow to get really granular data into what Google is actually sending us traffic-wise. So we're able to see what kind of quality each keyword is bringing in, what kind of clicks, where are the clicks coming from? Are they coming from the US? Even though we're bidding in the US, what kind of quality is Google actually sending us? And we use Everflow to really hone down and get really granular data to make key optimizations to really increase our return on our ad spend. So really, what keywords really reflect your ideal buyer? So you would assume for us at Everflow that affiliate and affiliate programs are really high quality keywords, right? We're an affiliate marketing platform. People, when they search affiliates, we want to be seen by Everflow. The problem with that is when we're looking deeper into our data, people that are searching affiliate and affiliate programs are usually people trying to find a way to make money quick online using affiliates, right? And so with this data, we realize we're getting a bunch of conversions from people off the keywords affiliates and affiliate programs, but they're not converting into high value customers. Usually they're at the lead stage and they drop off because it's a horrible lead, right? And so we were able to get this data and see that keywords like affiliate platforms, even though it has a high cost to bid on, it brings us the most value over and over again. And so we were able to block out keywords like affiliate programs and bid on keywords that really provide us the best value possible.
Where the user is specifically looking for a platform solution, not just trying to learn how to get rich quick at home.
Mm-hmm. So less than 2 years ago, Google released something called Conversion Actions. This really helps Google to learn what your buying process is. If you're like a B2C company, you probably have like a view content, add to cart, initiate checkout, purchase, right? And if you're B2B, you probably have like a lead, MQL, SQL stage. And kind of what we're doing is we're passing this data and we're assigning values to each action, right? If a person is at a SQL, it's probably worth more than just a lead that you got into your demo form, right?
And Sino, can you go into a few real numbers of like what we actually use internally for those?
So we want to, obviously you want Google to provide us the best value possible, right? And so our stages are lead, MQL, and SQL. The reason, obviously we have customers, but the reason for that we pick these three is like, it happens within a 7-day window, right? When we ever get a lead, it converts into an MQL pretty quickly, maybe the same day. And then usually after they book the demo, get the call in with the sales team, it turns into a SQL. And this happens within a 7-day window frame. And because of that, it allows Google to make optimizations on a daily basis. If we had customer in there and we went, our lead to customer journey is about 45 days. You can't tell Google 45 days later, hey, this is really profitable for us. Please keep running this campaign, because they already made that optimization weeks ago, right? And so for our strategy, we assign values like $5 per a lead, right? And then we do MQL at 100 and an SQL at 350. The way we got these values is we take the value of our customer at a lifetime value, and we kind of work back using our conversion rates, right? Like 50% of SQLs will turn into a customer, and like maybe 10% of actual leads turn into customers. So working back using this little kind of funnel, we can assign values to each stage.
And just to be clear with this, like we keep our values pretty kind of, we've chosen them. We don't stick to the real lifetime value because like with Google, you never know how much stuff you really want to tell them. You just want to tell them, hey, we want more of the SQLs. This is where the value is. Optimize towards the value. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Right, so optimizing based on maximum conversion value, like when you're running a Google Ads campaign, there's probably so many metrics you could look at, which is the one true metric you should be looking at to keep running these campaigns. And so over time, you got clicks, you got impressions, you got click-through rate, you got quality score, you got all these numbers to look at, but what number really is worth to you? And so when you're bidding based on maximum conversion value, it's essentially telling Google, hey, for every dollar I give you, please make more than $1 back. And so Google starts to understand, based on the values we're passing back with the stages, that the goal of Google at this point is to get you the return on your budget, right? Return on your ad spend. And when you're bidding based on maximum conversion value, the idea is Google is trying to get you more SQLs because that's the best bang for your buck. And at this point, Google's know you're going to keep that campaign on and keep spending money with them because they are bringing you value back.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit about what our integration does. And like the origin of like our integration is for like a long time, we were just wiring this all together with Zapier. And then we were like, well, we now know this works. We know that this is useful. Let's build the integration to do this. So what the Google Ads integration does in Everflow is, one, it tracks every single click from Google Ads inside of Everflow. Two, it allows you to pass all your conversion events back into Google Ads. Three, one of the new updates is that you can now map everything on a campaign level. So you can have each campaign mapped to different offers and to different partners. So you can track them all separately. The next one it does is allows you to have the data inside of Everflow, which is so much more useful for doing reporting. And then finally, you can actually update the conversion action value inside of Everflow. And then we're only talking about it from like the sort of like network user perspective, but we've also released this so that your partners can do the exact same thing. So your affiliates, they can be getting their own data into their own ad account, and they can be optimizing the same way we do in our account for our own ad account. So one of these is mapping events to conversion action. So this is how you actually get that data to Google, is you basically say like, okay, for this offer event, say like, for us, it's like Promote Everflow is like our base offer event inside of our own Everflow account where we run this. And then we'll say like, okay, sales qualified lead as an offer event, which we do through a connection with HubSpot. We're going to map this to inside of Google. This is going to be the HubSpot conversion action, and we're putting the value at $700. So now every time we see a sales qualified lead inside of Everflow, we are immediately telling Google, hey, this conversion action has happened and it's worth $700. And now Google is going to put more of their algorithm optimizing towards this higher value event, and they're going to spend less money on all of the ridiculous search terms that they say have intent. And they get real crazy. So I want to talk a little bit about what's been effective for optimizing our campaigns. And when I created this slide, I had Tony, our content person, look at this, and he's like, I think you should change this slide. It's a little disturbing. He didn't really like Workout Santa, but I'm like, I'm just showing you what Ross will look like in 15 years when he goes to the gym. Like, this is future Ross. So one of the first things is like, sorry to throw you on blast, Sino. When we turn on our display ad campaign, we turn it on the way that the defaults are set up in Google. So this is from like the first day we turned on the display, like a new display ad campaign. And like, we're like, well, we got something like 15, 18 conversions from Nigeria. We got like one from South Africa. We had ones from like Hungary. These were not the geos that we selected inside of Google Ads. But the default for Google is that they say it's like intent-based. If someone in Nigeria is looking up French restaurants and you have the geo of France, it's going to be like, oh, they're interested in France. Let me show you this Everflow ad. Even though that's not our target market, et cetera, Google is like, well, we can spend money on it. They show some intent. So like, but the thing is, it's very hard to check this in Google. Like, you have to build basically a custom report. Like, it's not something natural to do. But with Google, with Everflow, like, I'm always checking our dimensional analytics because it's like my snapshot into like what's working, what has a good like conversion to event ratio. And like in this situation, first day we looked at it, we're like, okay, let's fix this issue and start adding all of these like junk display ad URLs to like our negative like block list inside of Google. So having this information, and more importantly, making it really easy to look up this information, makes a big difference towards like catching all the little things that take your Google Ads account from like basic to being very successful. And it was a great learning thing for us to go through this and see, oh, right, this is why it matters. Next up, like I was saying, you want to spot check your event rates. So in this example of corgis, which I love as dogs, so like in this case, like when I'm doing my like spot checking, I'm just saying like, is there a normal like conversion to event rate ratio? So with this first one, top corgis, there's 6 conversions, 18 events. That's a very good like lead to event ratio. Clearly that's working. Whereas like something like best corgi breeds, where 4 conversions, 16 events, that's an amazing event rate. I clearly want to figure out how we can scale up that keyword or like the search terms around it. But like say like this, how to find happiness through corgis, there's 12 conversions, which is way more conversions, only 12 events. The event ratio is much worse. Even though it looks amazing on paper because you're getting a ton of conversions, it's probably much lower value, and it's really easy for me to spot check and catch this. Another thing about this is like one of the other things you can do once you start passing value to Google is you can go into Google itself and you can start looking at all of your keywords by the search term and the value associated with it. So by default, like we highly recommend every time we talk to Google, they say like broad matching is the best thing in Google. Like they highly incentivize you to use broad matching because it lets them spend a lot of your money very quickly. And so their algorithm actually rewards it, which means that if you get broad matching working the right way, it's very effective. And the way you do that is you do broad match, but then you add tons and tons and tons and tons of negative keywords to block all of the weird search terms that they suggest. So in this example, like the first one is the keyword of top corgis. Even though I'm bidding on the word of top corgis, and inside of Everflow, I'm going to see the keyword of top corgis, the search term was actually corgis and top hats, which is very different than top corgis, but their intent is like, it's close enough, might as well spend money on it. And so in this example, you have 8 conversions there, 3,200 conversion value, like still pretty good. Surprisingly, people like corgis and top hats. But like another example where this kind of falls apart is like, okay, say I'm bidding on like how to find happiness through corgis. It decides, well, the intent's about happiness, so I'm going to bid on the search term happiness project, which is completely unrelated to corgis, but is related to happiness. So in that example, like there's 6 conversions, which seems good, but there's like $18 in conversion value, which means that there's basically no value from those conversions because they are not the customers that you're trying to reach here. So like this kind of thing of like passing the right data and having the ability to dig into like what is actually real results that has like real value tied to it lets you go in regularly and just be like, okay, here's another 1,000 negative keywords to add. And I mean, as Sino can tell you, like sometimes we'll just have like a spreadsheet of like 3,000 affiliate program keywords because no matter how much we try, Google's like, you really want to bid on affiliate programs. So it'll be like, you want to bid on Nike affiliate program. You want to bid on Adidas affiliate program. Guess what? Those people are not looking for Everflow. They're looking to join the Nike affiliate program. And so we have to constantly be adding this giant list of negative keywords. But on the other hand, we benefit so much from broad match to carry all the other things that we would never think of, and we get much better CPCs because we're doing broad match. All right, so another thing that I would recommend is checking associated offer events. So this is something that we sort of just added as a hot fix, but I use all the time for checking both our Google Ads and LinkedIn campaigns. So little known feature, when you go into your conversion report inside of Everflow, there is a column called offer events. And you may have wondered, like, no, what is that? So we added the ability to actually click on that button, I think maybe like 6 months ago or so, and you can actually see every single offer event. And what this is basically like, say that we generate a lead from Google Ads during like last month, it will tell me all of the other events associated with that lead. So did they go to our pricing page? Did they sign up for a newsletter? Did they become a marketing qualified lead? So they give you all that information, and you can basically just go in the conversion report, click that button. It's going to tell you that for the month you're looking up, okay, there are 5 offer events, and here's every one of those offer events. So as you have an offer with many events, this is the easiest way to see like how many other events were triggered from that same lead in a very quick way, and you're going to get granularly broken out so you know, okay, here's all the stuff happening. All right, any questions from the audience? Cool, perfect. That's easy for us.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Woo.
Oh.